Jax's revenge domain.
I was halfway through checking the tolerance specs on the new bearing assemblies when Brandon Walsh stormed into my office. No knock, no courtesy, just barged right in like he owned the place, which, until that moment, I thought he did. "Richardson," he barked, tossing a manila folder onto my desk. "We need to talk. Now, I'm Mike Richardson, 48 years old, and I've been running operations at Richardson Industrial Equipment for 15 years. Started here right after I got out of the Marines, working my way up from the floor. My dad, Daniel, built this company from nothing back in 1982, and I figured I'd be here until retirement." I glanced at the folder, then at Walsh. He'd been our CEO for 3 years now, brought in by the board, after we went through a rough transition period following Dad's death 5 years ago. Everything about him screamed MBA Mineth, the expensive suit, the buzzwords, the way he treated our 380 workers like spreadsheet entries instead of people. "Sure, Brandon, what's on your mind?" He didn't sit, just stood there trying to intimidate me. "The board's decided to restructure operations. We're moving in a different direction." I felt my stomach drop but kept my voice steady. Meaning what, exactly? Meaning we need leadership that understands modern business efficiency, someone who can adapt to global market realities. He straightened his tie like he was about to deliver a death sentence. "Frankly, Mike, your resistance to our cost-cutting initiatives has become a problem." There it was. For months, I'd been pushing back against his plan to move production to Mexico. I'd shown him the quality control reports, the customer complaints that had tripled since we started using cheaper overseas suppliers. But Walsh only cared about one thing: making our quarterly numbers look good for the board. "You're firing me?" I kept my voice steady, the way they taught us in the Corps. He actually smiled. "We're releasing you from your position, effective immediately. The company needs forward-thinking management, not someone stuck in outdated manufacturing philosophies." I adjusted my dad's old Timex watch, a habit I'd picked up whenever I needed to think clearly. The same watch he wore every day on the factory floor for 30 years until his heart attack took him at 64. "I see," I said quietly. "Any particular reason besides my outdated philosophies?" Walsh's tone got sharper. "You've questioned every efficiency measure we've implemented. The Mexico transition, the supplier optimization, the workforce right-sizing. This industry requires adaptability, Mike, something you've failed to demonstrate." What he called efficiency measures, I called destroying everything my father built. Walsh had cut the veteran hiring program Dad started in 1995, eliminated the profit sharing that had kept families loyal for decades, replaced our trusted American suppliers with overseas manufacturers whose parts failed quality control 40% of the time. But the worst part, 2 years ago, when Dad died and the board was scrambling to find interim leadership, they'd brought in a series of consultants who nearly ran us into the ground. That's when they hired Walsh, thinking his Wharton MBA would save the company. Instead, he'd spent 3 years systematically dismantling Dad's legacy. "I understand," I said, standing up slowly. "When do you need my office cleared?" He looked surprised. Probably expected me to argue, maybe even beg. But 12 years in the Marines teaches you when to pick your battles. End of business today. Security will disable your access at 5 p.m. HR has your severance package. I extended my hand. "Thanks for the clarity, Brandon." He shook it, looking confused by my calm reaction. "Good luck, Mike. I'm sure you'll land somewhere that fits your management style better." As he walked out, satisfied with his little power play, I sat back down and took a slow breath. My hands weren't shaking. My heart rate stayed steady, because what Brandon Walsh didn't know, what nobody in that building knew minus, was something that had changed everything just 2 weeks ago. I looked at the framed photo on my desk, Dad and me at the company's expansion ceremony in 1984. I was 8 years old, wearing my Little League uniform, grinning next to the man who'd built this company with his bare hands and a $15,000 loan. That was the year we opened our second production line, when business was booming and Dad was talking about leaving something meaningful for his kids. The night before Walsh fired me, I'd been sitting in my kitchen going through Dad's papers when I found something I'd forgotten about. A letter he'd left for my 48th birthday, along with some legal documents I was supposed to open when the time was right. Turns out the time was exactly right. I started packing my personal stuff. Not much, just a coffee mug from my unit in Afghanistan, some family photos, and a stack of quality control reports Walsh had been ignoring for months. Outside my office, I could see workers whispering. Some looked sympathetic. Others avoided eye contact. Nobody wanted to be associated with the guy who just got canned. Frank Murphy, our union president, appeared in my doorway. Frank's 59, been here since before I graduated high school, and he's never minced words about anything. "This is complete bullshit, Mike," he said quietly. "Absolute bullshit. It is what it is, Frank." "No, it isn't." He stepped inside and lowered his voice. "That corporate jackass is destroying this place. Safety incidents up 25% since he started buying cheap Chinese parts. Workers scared they'll lose their jobs to Mexico. This isn't what your dad built. I packed the last of my things and stood up. Maybe it's time for things to change. Frank gave me a look. What's that supposed to mean? I picked up my box and headed for the door. Let's just say this story isn't over yet. Walking out of that building felt strange. Not defeated, more like I was finally seeing the whole chessboard for the first time. I nodded to the security guard, Jimmy Martinez, who'd been here since Dad's early days. He gave me a sympathetic wave, but didn't say anything. Smart man. That evening, I sat in my living room and spread out the documents Dad had left me. My kids, Lisa and Tommy, both grown now and living their own lives, had no idea what their grandfather had set up. Hell, I'd had no idea until 2 weeks ago. The letter was in Dad's handwriting, that careful script he'd learned in night school while working double shifts at Ford before starting the company. Mike, it read, if you're reading this on your 48th birthday, it means you're ready for the truth. I never told you, but when I stepped down as CEO after my first heart attack, I didn't give up control of this company. I just hid it. My hands started to shake as I read the next line. Through a family trust, you now own 75% of Richardson Industrial Equipment. I structured it this way because I knew someday you'd need more than just a voice at the table. Someday you'd need to save what we built. The legal documents were all there, notarized, filed, completely legitimate. For 3 years, while Walsh had been dismantling my father's legacy piece by piece, I'd actually been the majority owner. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd been taking orders from a man who worked for me. I called our family lawyer, Judge William Garrison, that same night. Judge Garrison had been Dad's friend since they served together in Vietnam, and he'd handled our family's legal affairs for 30 years. Judge, it's Mike. I need to ask you about some documents Dad left me. I could hear him settling into his chair. You found them. Took you long enough. Is this real? Do I really own 75% of the company? Real as rain, Mike. Your father set it up to activate on your 48th birthday. Been waiting 5 years to make this call. Why didn't he tell me sooner? Judge Garrison chuckled. Daniel wanted you to experience the company as a regular employee first. See who would show their true colors when they thought you had no power. Decide if you actually wanted the responsibility before you had to use it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the conversations I'd had with Walsh over the past 3 years. All the times he'd dismissed my concerns about quality, about worker safety, about the company's reputation. All the times he'd talked down to me like I was some blue-collar grunt who didn't understand modern business. The next morning, I called Frank Murphy. You free for coffee? We met at Murphy's Diner, the same place Dad used to take me for pancakes after Little League games. Frank ordered his usual black coffee and wheat toast while I tried to figure out how to drop this bomb without giving the man a heart attack. Frank, what would you say if I told you there was a way to stop Walsh from moving production to Mexico? He stirred his coffee slowly, those sharp eyes studying my face. I'd say you better not be jerking me around, Mike. These guys have families to feed. I slid the ownership documents across the table. Frank put on his reading glasses and went quiet for about 5 minutes, reading every word twice. Holy Mother of God, he whispered. You own the company? 75% of it? Walsh doesn't know. The board doesn't know. Nobody knows except you, me, and Judge Garrison. Frank leaned back in his booth, processing what this meant. What's the play special shareholder meeting? I want Walsh gone, and I want to undo every one of his efficiency measures. What about the board? They hired him. Some of them really believe in his cost-cutting bullshit. The board works for the shareholders, Frank, and I am the shareholders. Over the next week, Judge Garrison and I prepared everything. The paperwork was airtight: share certificates, voting records, financial documentation showing how Walsh's cost-cutting had actually damaged our bottom line. Customer satisfaction down 34%. Quality complaints up 287%. 3 major contracts lost to competitors because of delivery failures when our cheap overseas suppliers couldn't meet deadlines. But the numbers that really mattered were the human ones. Worker morale was at an all-time low. The veteran hiring program that Dad had started, the one that gave guys like me a second chance after military service, was gone. The apprenticeship program that had trained skilled workers for 25 years was eliminated. Walsh had even cut the company's contribution to the employees' Christmas fund. I spent those days walking around Detroit thinking about what Dad would have wanted. He'd built this company not just to make money, but to prove that American manufacturing could compete with anyone if you focused on quality and treated your workers right. Walsh was turning us into just another corporation chasing quarterly profits at the expense of everything else. Janae Torres, our CFO, had been quietly documenting Walsh's failures. When I approached her carefully without revealing my ownership stake yet, she confirmed what I already suspected. Walsh's Mexico plan would save money in the short term but destroy our reputation for precision manufacturing. Our aerospace clients were already asking questions about quality control. Mike, she said during a discreet coffee meeting, I'm glad you're asking these questions. I've been worried about where we're headed. How bad is it really? Janet looked around the coffee shop, making sure no one could overhear. Bad. Walsh fired our best quality control supervisor last month, replaced him with someone who'll rubber stamp anything to meet shipping deadlines. We're one major defect away from losing our military contracts. That's when I knew Dad had been right to set up the trust. This wasn't just about revenge for being fired. This was about saving something bigger than myself. We scheduled the meeting for the following Tuesday. Mandatory attendance for all board members. Walsh wouldn't know what hit him until I walked into that boardroom and revealed the truth. The morning of the meeting, I put on my best suit, the one I wore to Dad's funeral, and drove to the plant. For the first time in a week, I was walking back into Richardson Industrial Equipment, but this time I wasn't an employee. I arrived 15 minutes early and sat in my truck in the parking lot, watching workers file in for the morning shift. These were people I'd known for years. Bobby Martinez, who started as an apprentice when he was 19 and now supervised our precision machining department. Sarah Collins, whose husband died in Iraq and who'd been working double shifts to support her 3 kids. Tommy Kowalski, 62 years old, who should have been able to retire with dignity but couldn't afford to under Walsh's benefit cuts. Judge Garrison met me at the employee entrance. You ready for this, son? Ready as I'll ever be. The boardroom was buzzing when we arrived. Walsh was at the head of the table in Dad's old chair, probably thinking this was another routine quarterly review. The 5 board members looked confused when they saw me walk in. Dr. Patricia Wells, who'd been on the board since Dad's time, spoke first. Mike, what are you doing here? Walsh stood up, his face already flushing red. This meeting is for board members only. You don't work here anymore, Richardson. I set my folder on the table and took the empty chair at the other end, the one that used to be Dad's when he attended board meetings in his final years. You're right, Brandon. I don't work here anymore. I own here. The room went dead silent. Janet Torres, our CFO, was the first to speak. Mike, what are you talking about? I opened the folder and distributed copies of the ownership documents. According to this family trust, established 5 years ago and activated 2 weeks ago, I own 75% of Richardson Industrial Equipment. Walsh grabbed his copy, his hands actually shaking as he read. This can't be legitimate. It's completely legitimate, Judge Garrison said, walking into the room right on cue, filed with the state, notarized, and legally binding. Daniel Richardson established this trust to ensure his son would have controlling interest when he reached 48. Dr. Wells adjusted her glasses as she studied the documents. This appears to be authentic. Mike, are you calling this meeting as majority shareholder? I am, and I'm exercising my voting rights to remove Brandon Walsh as CEO, effective immediately. Walsh slammed his hand on the table. This is a setup. You can't just waltz in here after being fired, and actually, I can. I kept my voice calm, military steady, as majority shareholder. My vote carries, but let's talk about why this is necessary. I opened the second folder, the one with Walsh's performance record that Janet had helped me compile. Customer complaints up 287% under your leadership. Safety incidents up 25% due to substandard overseas parts. Employee satisfaction at an all-time low. And you've managed to lose us our 3 biggest contracts by prioritizing cost-cutting over quality delivery. Janet Torres was looking at her own copy of the numbers, nodding grimly. These figures are accurate. I compiled them myself. Furthermore, I continued, your plan to move production to Mexico would eliminate 180 American jobs while compromising the quality standards my father spent 30 years building. Board member Dr. James Crawford, a newer addition who'd been supportive of Walsh's changes, cleared his throat. Brandon, how do you respond to these concerns? Walsh's confidence was cracking. His expensive suit suddenly looked like a costume. These are short-term adjustments for long-term competitiveness. Mike doesn't understand modern global markets. I understand that customer satisfaction pays the bills, I said. I understand that skilled American workers built this company's reputation for precision manufacturing. And I understand that my father didn't sacrifice 30 years of his life so some MBA could sell out to the lowest bidder. Dr. Wells leaned forward. Brandon, what about the safety incident reports? That's a 25% increase in workplace injuries. Walsh started sweating. Those numbers they're within acceptable industry standards. Acceptable? I pulled out another document. Tell that to Maria Santos, who lost 2 fingers last month because you replaced our safety guards with cheaper versions that don't meet OSHA specifications. Tell that to the families of the 3 workers who've been hospitalized this year due to equipment failures from your cut-rate suppliers. The room was getting uncomfortable now. Board members were exchanging glances. Even Dr. Crawford, Walsh's biggest supporter, was looking at the safety reports with concern. Mike, Dr. Wells said quietly, "What are you proposing?" "I'm proposing that we remember what this company stands for. Quality, integrity. Taking care of the people who take care of us." I looked directly at Walsh. "I'm proposing that we stop sacrificing our values for quarterly profits." Judge Garrison stepped forward. As majority shareholder, Mr. Richardson is within his rights to call for a vote of no confidence in current management. Walsh tried one last desperate play. "The board hired me to modernize this company. These people want to drag us back to the 1980s? "The 1980s, I said, when we had zero customer complaints, zero safety violations, and workers who stayed with the company for 30 years because they knew we'd take care of them." "Yeah, Brandon, maybe we should go back to that." Dr. Wells looked around the table, all in favor of removing Brandon Walsh as CEO. Every hand went up, even Dr. Crawford's. Walsh's face went from red to white. "You can't do this. I have a contract." "Your contract," Judge Garrison said calmly, "includes termination clauses for cause. Compromising worker safety and losing major clients constitutes cause." Security didn't need to be called. Walsh gathered his things and left, but not before giving me a look that could melt steel. "You think you're saving this company? You're destroying it." "No, Brandon," I said as he reached the door. "I'm bringing it home." After the room cleared, except for Dr. Wells and Judge Garrison, she approached me. "Mike, are you prepared to take on the CEO role?" I thought about Dad, about the workers who'd trusted our family for decades, about the future of American manufacturing. "Yes, ma'am, I am." That afternoon, I called an all-hands meeting in the main assembly area. Word had already spread that Walsh was gone, but nobody knew why or what came next. 380 workers gathered around, some looking worried, others hopeful. "Some of you have known me for 15 years, I began. "Others might only know me as the guy who got fired last week. But what you all need to know is this: Richardson Industrial Equipment is coming home." I looked out at faces I'd known for years, some worried, some hopeful, all waiting to hear if their jobs were safe. The Mexico plan is dead. Production stays in Detroit. The veteran hiring program starts again next month, and profit sharing returns immediately. The cheer that went up could probably be heard 3 blocks away. Within 2 weeks, I'd reversed every one of Walsh's changes. Yes, bringing production back from overseas cost more initially, but our quality control issues disappeared overnight. Customer complaints dropped 85% in the first month. More importantly, our workers stopped looking over their shoulders, wondering if their jobs would be there tomorrow. Frank Murphy became my unofficial advisor on everything related to the shop floor. "You know," he said during one of our morning coffee meetings, "your dad would be proud." "This feels like the old Richardson Industrial again." "Not the old," I corrected. "The real Richardson Industrial, the one that never should have changed." I reinstated the apprenticeship program that had trained skilled workers for 25 years, brought back the company's contribution to the employees' Christmas fund. Most importantly, I hired Maria Santos's medical bills to be covered by the company insurance, even though her injury technically happened under Walsh's watch. Janae Torres, our CFO, had been quietly keeping track of everything. "Mike, I need to show you something," she said, walking into my office with a stack of reports. "These are our numbers from the last 6 months. Customer satisfaction was up 89%. Employee retention hit 94%. The highest in the company's history. We'd won back 2 of the 3 major contracts we'd lost under Walsh, and we were bidding on several new ones. How are we doing financially?" I asked. Janet smiled. "Better than we have in 5 years. Turns out quality work costs more upfront but pays more in the long run. Who would have thought?" The breakthrough came 8 months after I took over. Janet burst into my office with a contract in her hand and a grin on her face. "Mike, you need to see this. The Pentagon just approved our bid for the F-35 Precision Components contract. 5 years, $78 million, exclusively American manufacturing required." I stared at the papers. This was the kind of contract Dad had always dreamed of, minus high-precision work that showcased American manufacturing at its finest. Work that Walsh would never have been able to deliver with his cut-rate overseas suppliers. How did we beat out the competition? Quality ratings, safety record, on-time delivery. Everything Walsh threw away, we got back. Janet sat down across from my desk. "The Pentagon specifically mentioned our commitment to American workers and our precision manufacturing standards." That evening, I walked the factory floor like I used to when I was just operations manager. The difference was remarkable. Workers weren't rushing through jobs to meet impossible deadlines. They were taking pride in their craftsmanship again. The newer employees were learning from the veterans instead of being told to cut corners. Bobby Martinez, now our head of precision machining, stopped me near the CNC equipment. "Mr. Richardson, I wanted to thank you for bringing back the apprenticeship program. My nephew just got accepted. Your nephew earned it, Bobby. Just like you did 15 years ago. It means a lot, having a boss who understands what we do down here. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just running a company, I was stewarding something bigger. A place where skilled work was valued, where loyalty went both ways, where American manufacturing could still compete with anyone in the world if you focused on what really mattered. Frank Murphy found me in Dad's old office later that night. I'd kept everything exactly the way he'd left it. The family photos, the industry awards, the handwritten note from our first military contract in 1987. Working late again? Frank asked. Just thinking about Dad, about what he'd make of all this. Frank settled into the chair across from my desk. You know what he'd say? He'd say, you finally figured out the difference between running a business and leading people. What's that supposed to mean? Walsh ran a business. Cut costs, maximize profits, treated workers like expenses. You're leading people. Investing in quality, building something that lasts, treating workers like the foundation of everything you do. A year later, we were featured in Manufacturing Today magazine as a model for American industrial revival. The article talked about our worker retention, our quality standards, our commitment to keeping jobs in America. But the quote that made me proudest came from Sarah Collins, the single mother who'd been working double shifts under Walsh. Mr. Richardson doesn't just talk about family values, she told the reporter he lives them. When my youngest got sick last month, he made sure I could take time off without losing pay. That's not policy, that's character. Looking back on that day when Walsh fired me, I realized it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because I got revenge. Revenge is a dish that leaves you hungry, but because it forced me to discover who I really was and what I was willing to fight for. The greatest inheritance isn't money or stock shares. It's the responsibility to protect what matters, your people, your principles, and the legacy of everyone who believed in building something that lasts. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find out what you're really made of. And sometimes the biggest risk isn't standing up to power. It's realizing you had that power all along and choosing to use it right. Maybe you're reading this and thinking about your own workplace, your own boss who doesn't understand what really drives success. Maybe you're wondering if speaking up is worth the risk, if standing on principle is worth potential consequences. Let me tell you something I learned in 12 years of military service and 15 years on factory floors. Integrity isn't just about doing the right thing when it's easy. It's about doing the right thing, especially when it's hard. When you know what you stand for, when you've built your life on solid values, when you understand the difference between leadership and management, that's when you discover real power isn't about controlling others. It's about inspiring them to be better than they thought possible.